So that first kind of glance, kind of looking at like the 111 is like if you're in the on state, stay on. You're in the off state, stay off. I was kind of trying to compare like if you have something around you, you turn on. If you don't, you turn off. But like the 100 goes to a 1, but the 001 goes to a 0. And so that's odd to me because it doesn't allow immediate symmetry when I'm looking at.
Any other ideas, comments, insights, thoughts?
I'm going to say something like production, but doesn't work with 100.
Right, because it's like, yeah, 110 is a 0, but then is the 011 is a 1. So they're like flipped. It's just, it's.
So think about having a certain directionality.
So if you have 0 to end in 0. Oh, so if you end in 0, you're 0. If you end in 1, you're 1. Oh no, that doesn't work for 0, 0, 1. All right.
If we look at all the cases where you start on 1010, so it's always be whatever your right neighborhood you're on. Yeah. So if you're on, you become whatever was one block to the right. If you're off,
That's one interpretation.
you're on. And then, yeah.
Very good. Okay, so that's one interpretation. Okay, that's not what I was trying to get at.
Sorry.
That's basically a multiplexer.
What?
Multiplexer.
Can you expand?
If you are off, you get your new state from the left. If you are on, you get your new state from the right. Right? So you have two inputs, and which one you choose depends on the state of this guy. Yeah?
Does the word multiplex come from somewhere?
Yeah. So you have a bunch of inputs, and you have to decide which one to choose. It's like a switch, except it can happen dynamically. Right. This is an experimental, like they're in an experimental lab, so multiplexer you grab a lot of signals at once, right? But you have like one device, so you can switch between those signals. Cool. Yeah. Okay. That's one interpretation. Any other interpretations? Again, thinking about this directionality. So let's look at the cases where we have 1 in the central cell. Okay. So this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. And let's consider that 1 in the central cell as being trying to move in this direction. Okay? If this guy moves in this direction, say he's successful here, okay, then we're left with a 0. Okay? This guy tries to move in this direction. There's somebody already there. So we stick with 1. Okay? This guy tries to move in this direction. There's somebody already there. We stick with 1. If this guy tries to move this direction, we end up with 0.
Right, and if you shift to the 0's point of view, it becomes a 1.
Yeah.
What about the 101?
Right. So now let's look at the other cases. Well, this is a 0. And so this guy can move into it. And so we pick up a 1. This guy's a 0. This guy can move into it. We pick up a 1. This guy's a 0. Well, we don't know. Okay. Cool. Because we don't know what's on this side. Okay. But in all of these cases, this guy can't move forward because there's a 1 there. This guy can't move forward because there's a 1 there. This guy can move forward. Okay, and that's how we end up with a 0. Because this guy from behind can't come into the left. But this guy will advance. Cool? Yeah? So any block that is currently at 1 will move to the right, such that the block to the right becomes a 1 and it becomes a 0, if that block is 0. Otherwise, it can't progress. Okay, that's another interpretation of this. Does that sound like anything? Right? When you are driving on the road, you keep going, you keep advancing in time until there's something in front of you preventing you from doing something. And then when there is something, you have to wait for it to move into it. Cool? Try. There are other interpretations, okay? One is deposition onto a surface. I don't want to talk about this one in detail, because I don't understand this one in detail. There is another neat one, though. Ballistic annihilation. Okay, so what we'll do is let's consider a system that looks like this. And some clever people looking at this decided that whenever you had 2 zeros in a row, that should correspond, whenever you have 2 1s in a row, that should correspond to a particle, let's say an electron, moving to the left. Okay? And whenever you have 2 zeros in a row, this should correspond to the antiparticle, a proton, moving to the right. Okay, and to see why we can have this interpretation, let's do the next point in time. Okay, what is the next state here?
Still a 0.
Yep. What is the next state here?
0.
Here.
1.
Here.
0.
Here.
0.
Here.
And then 1, 1, 1.
1. No, this guy leaves. Well, no, this guy stays there. You're right. Okay, and that's as far as we can go because we don't know what this guy does.
Oh, so you have to chop off the ends.
We have to chop off the ends. Okay. Well, now let's look at it. Well, our electron and our positron is moved here, and our other positron is back here. Okay? These two dudes are colliding. Okay? And what's going to happen? Well, what's the next state of the system here? And here, 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 here. What? Right? And so what's happened, these two particles have annihilated. Cool? Okay, so that's another interpretation of Rule 180.
Is this only for 184 or can you do like that?
I don't know. Cool? Neat. Okay, so here we have a rule set that can be interpreted in a number of different ways. Okay, the one we want to talk about today is traffic.
Is there a name for this kind of boundary condition where you just jump off it?
Not that I know of. The disappearing world boundary.
Yeah.
Okay. So remember what our code looks like for when we do cellular automata. Okay, this is the same code we looked at last class. Okay, and remember we started with the XOR gate, and that was quite easy to program. And then we started looking at different rules, and we saw it wasn't so easy to map those to logic. So we ended up brute force just going through all the different possible states, all 8 possibilities. Okay, so I've taken that code, and what I have done is implemented this rule set. So first of all, when our central cell is 1 and both left and right are 1, we get 1. This is all for central cell 1, so now my left is 1 and my right is 0. So this is 1, 1, 0. What does 1, 1, 0 give me?
0.
Okay, how about 0, 1, 1?
1.
How about 0, 1, 0?
Oh.
How about 1, 0, 1? And 1, 0, 0. And 0, 0, 1. There. And 0, 0, 0. There. Yeah. Okay? So those are just numbers I put in there. Okay? That's it. So once we have this code for elementary cellular automata, we can actually quite easily do any one of these results. Are you all okay with that? You need to all be okay with that. Okay? I'm going to expect that this is very trivial for you guys to program any rule set. Yeah? Yes? Austin, you all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just have a funny look on your face? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to output 2 types of files. So remember what we did before is that we printed out the, because we have a 1D cellular automata, we printed out the state of the system as rows, and then we can load up our whole 2D file and just display it as a picture. Right? So all those little patterns and stuff like that, and chaos and stuff. I'm also going to dump the states as an XYZ file. Okay, so that we can try and visualize them as particles moving to see what it looks like. Okay, so let's do this. And the way I've set this up, I have a very easy parameter to tweak here, because this basically controls my, what does this number control?
The amount of
Right. Yeah. So it's the densities of ones, which is the density of cars in our system. Okay, with our 1 corresponds to a car. Cool. So just by changing this number, I can change the density of cars. Okay. So let's run this. Run it. But first, let's visualize it. So my density is only 25. So I'm doing the trick of changing the color based on the Z position. So the blues here are above the reds. Okay, so blues correspond to cars. Red corresponds to empty space. There we go.
So, how come the boundaries are here?
No. So that boundary, that wasn't a real boundary reduction. Okay, and there is no disappearing boundary. Okay, it's that we looked at a finite segment of a larger cellular armada, right? And because we need to know the state of the neighbors, we couldn't say anything about those. Okay, which meant that as time went on, we knew this exact state, and then we knew the state of this segment of it at the next point. We didn't know the points to the left and right; they still exist. We just didn't know what they were.
So if you were just saying they're periodic. So
Here we're saying they're periodic boundaries. Okay. Well, maybe a nice orderly truck. You wish your drive looked like that?
Yeah. It's clearly not realistic.
So let us up the density. Well, first let's look at what the plot looks like, okay? So we can get a feel for what we can expect this to look like. Okay, so here I've done something that I'll later abandon, but I flip these around so that, well, actually, so the white ones are cars, okay? And it's a function of time going down, okay? So what do we see? Well, whenever we have a car on its own, it just keeps going in a line, right? Here's two cars separated by one block, they keep going in a line. Now we have two right beside each other. The first one takes off at this speed. The second one has to wait, and then it can go at that speed. Cool? But it's all nice and orderly. Let's up density, 0.5. Let's see what the movie looks like. Turn on the speed.
You should get a problem the moment you go 50% density, shouldn't you?
Earlier. Is a railroad track. So if you look at this, okay, when you have a bunch of them, all individuals going in one direction, okay, then you can kind of see that it's going in the right. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning, where we have this block here. Okay, watch the block.
Yeah, so like the first one each time.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Neat.
Wait, do it again. So we went backwards? Yeah.
Watch the block, Austin.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay. And we can see that. We reload this east. Okay, so these are the cars going forward. This is a block backwards. Anyone know what this is called?
Traffic jam?
Huh?
Yeah.
You say?
Traffic jam. The shock.
Shock?
What we learned in math on shocks and fans in like those types of math systems where you have. I call it traffic jam. Just have a backup.
Traffic wave.
Traffic wave.
It's a backward propagating traffic.
I think that's what the shock is.
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. Neat.
But does the wave doesn't physically probably affect, it's because the next car comes into it and then cast away. And the next car comes into it and cast away. If you had nothing behind them, then it would just one off.
I know that.
Okay.
But when we look at the movie, which direction does the block go in?
It looks like it goes. Okay.
this clearly has a slope in this direction, while the cars have a slope in this direction.
Yeah.
Okay, and so this is one of the interesting things about traffic phenomena. Okay, if you have like a jam like that, it actually goes backwards. Okay, so that's why you can't be in a traffic jam and be like, and you get over here, what the heck's going on? Right? Nothing. There was something happened here for a minute, and then it propagated back. Okay, cool. The effects of it, right? Like a wave. Okay, the medium didn't move backwards, but a wave did.
Yeah. Group plus.
Once we go over 50, then we should start having problems. Yeah, like phonons and stuff.
Let's see what happens here. Okay, now it's very hard to see anything except this stuff going backwards. Okay, there's all these little jams all over the place. And if I were to just show you this movie at the beginning of the class, you would say they're going backwards. Okay, but the individual only the 80 cars have annihilated cars.
That would be convenient for our traffic jams.
Right? That's what we get.
So instead of so it's better in this case to look at the open spot that's moving rather than the cars themselves. You see the open spot propagating rather than the cars. So it's like looking.
This looks like very dark.
The cars aren't going back. The holes are moving back.
The anti-car comes back. Yeah, exactly. So some clear density was about the phase transition from the forward factor.
Well, let's look at what component data assessment of this will look like. Okay?
Yeah, they move forward to the space and then yeah.
So this is like photovoltaics.
So it's like a 401.
This is photovoltaics.
Yeah.
So let's say if I were to calculate the mean speed, okay? This will be in units of cells per time step. And I want to calculate that as a function of the density. Okay, and the density conveniently goes from 0 to 1 because I can just look at the percent of cells occupied by it. Cool. What do you think the mean speed is at very low densities? Yeah, all the cars can be separated and just move in a straight line. Okay, there may be some effects from initial conditions. But if we let those disappear, we let the transients disappear, the steady state would be speed of 1. And in fact, this lasts for quite a long time. Okay? The transients will take longer to die out, but eventually every car can find its proper spacing so it can just keep going. When does that break down?
That should break down at 50%, right?
Check. What?
Or a density of 0.5.
Why?
Because at 0.5, then you can slot, under 0.5, you can slot a space between every cell, so always shift one. But once you go over that, there's always a probability that you have one beside another, so then you always end up having a propagating hole.
Very good, Austin. So this goes up to 50%, 0.5, and then this starts decreasing. And when we get to 1, the mean speed is 0. No one moves. It's literally a full.
Is that a straight line or a curve?
No, it's curved.
Oh.
So that's a pretty handy metric. How about, so that's the average speed. What do you think might be something else of interest we could measure? Here, you got SimCity open. You want to design your roads. Is the average speed all you're concerned with? What's actually? Yeah. Not the average speed of the cars, it's how many cars you can get through in a certain amount of time. Right? So let's call that the flow. Okay, and this would be vehicles per time step. What do you guys think this looks like? Again, this is versus density.
Vehicles being percentages.
No, I don't care about the actual numbers. What's it going to look like?
So is this like taking a single point and just counting how many vehicles go past that point?
Yeah.
Every time step?
Whatever.
So at 0, it should be 0. I'll start that one out.
Very good, Austin.
I picked the easiest one. You guys can get the
1, you should also have 0.
Very good. Okay. So being a physicist, I now know enough to do this. Right? Amber, what do you think the line looks like here?
So here, so this is a steady state?
Yes.
Okay. So at half density, it'd be like every car would be able to pass,
Yeah. So Amber's identified a third point. It's going to be a maximum at 0.5. Right? Why is it going to be a maximum at 0.5?
You're going to have exactly half of the cells. So all cars are moving at maximum velocity and every other cell in the car.
Exactly. Okay, we have max speed there. It's the highest density at which we have max. Okay. Any guess on what the line between here and here is going to look like? Straight, concave, convex. Concave.
Well, it's definitely going to be symmetric
Why is it going to be symmetric?
because as soon as we increase beyond 0.5, you can just put the whole car.
It,
should be linear, shouldn't it? Like as we increase by, if we have 1 car, then it's 1 every 2 cars twice.
the speed is constant, so it increase the density. You just increase the cars by that amount. It's just a straight line. And by Martin's argument, it's got to be symmetric. So that's what the flow looks like as a function of density.
Well, isn't that nifty? So the best thing that we can possibly do is half fill a road up. That's our option.
Well, in this model.
In this model.
So it's not so much that you would do city planning with this model. Okay. The point here is more that with this very simple model, we're actually able to replicate some features of traffic, even some of the more frustrating features. Okay, backward propagating waves. All right, that your speed decreases with density. Okay? That there is a maximum in your flow, not at maximum density, okay, but at some intermediate. It's not going to be 0.5. None of these details are correct. Okay, but it's rather that such a simple physical model gives you some of these information. Cool? Is that cool with people? Yeah? We're 184. What means? Okay. So I want to switch focus a little bit. We've been talking about this in terms of a cellular automata model, right? And so we have something like okay, and we look at it at the next stage in time, and what we say is, okay, let's say these were periodic boundary conditions, okay, so that we don't get the funny rule set. We say, okay, well the state of this cell, right, because this is a 0, this one can move ahead, so we're left with a 0. This guy is a 0, it's a 0. This guy is a 0, so it's a 0. And then this guy can't move ahead. This guy can move ahead. Okay, and then this guy can't move ahead. So this is our new state person. Cool. So that's how we look at it as a cellular automata. But given this traffic interpretation, this lends itself really easily to instead be interpreted in a particle. So instead of having this grid with 1s and 0s, let's just consider having a particle here, particle here, particle here, and a particle here, with periodic boundary. Okay? And then our rule for the particle is that it jumps towards one lattice site. So we have particles on a lattice, if that lattice site is empty. Cool? And so this guy just jumps to here. This guy can't, sorry, this guy jumps to here. This guy can't jump. This guy can jump. And then this guy can. Cool? So exactly the same thing. It's just, this is a cellular automata way of thinking about it. We've actually kind of switched into the particle-based way of thinking. All right? When we were looking at those rules, and I said, okay, what's the state of this one going to be? When I was looking at this, we were doing it on there with the ballistic annihilation. You guys were telling me really quickly what the new state of the system would be that you were using a particle-based interpretation. We weren't looking at that rule set. Right? When we would do, we did something like that with the 110, which is like this arbitrary rule set. We would not be able to whip off the answers. Okay? But I just want to make a point that these are two different ways of seeing the same thing. Okay? Cellular automata do not always give such a nice particle-based interpretation, as we saw with some of the rule sets yesterday. But this one totally does. Cool? Any questions on this? Note this also conserves the total number of particles in the system, which is also not true. Okay? In most of the cellular automata we've seen, things are created and destroyed. They're not here. Which again helps with the particles. Cool? Yeah? Any questions on that? Everybody okay with that? It's a subtle distinction, but it's there. Yes? Okay. So what would a particle-based simulation of this look like? No, because now what we're going to do is not, I mean, yes, but no, because we can go about coding it here.
Oh, I see. Yep.
Okay. So what we can do instead of having this grid that we fill with 1s and 0s, okay, what we can do is have an array, and you guys can't see this. Yeah, I hate those. That's unbelievable. I go, can't, with all our modern engineering, I can't that design still persists. Pull down to arbitrary point, wait arbitrary time, and it will work. Otherwise, you'll look like an idiot. It's still laughing at the screen.
It's still better than the automated one that takes like 20 minutes to pull down. Like,
I don't know. At least those will work.
less work.
Okay, so what would our code look like here? Well, instead of in our cellular automatic code, remember what we did is we set up an array and then we built it with ones or zeros. Okay. Now let's make an array, but now it's just going to be the x position of our particles. Cool. So difference. We're now taking the particles and looking at where they are, rather than having space and looking at if there's a car there. Cool. It turns out we also still want to do that in this program. So now we're going to call that array row, which is just going to be the density of cars as a function of x. So the row, the array x is the x position of all the particles. So x of 0, x of 1, etc. This is going to be the density at x equals 0, the density at x equals 1, the density at x equals 2. Cool. Yeah. So what do we do? Let's pick a number of cars, n equals 75 and length of 100. So let's start with a lower number here, 25 and 100. We want to place our cars. We want to place all 75 of our cars. And we want to place them randomly, but we can't have two cars occupying the same site. Okay, so what do? Well, we have a little place flag here. And while that is equal to 0, we loop. And we pick a random site between 0 and L, integer value. And if the density of cars there is equal to 0, we can put a car there. And if we put the car there, then that is its new position, x position. And now we have to change the density to be 1 because we just placed the car there. Okay, and we also set this place flag equal 1 because we're done with that car. Break out of this loop, and then we go to the next particle. Cool? So this kind of logic, you know, I hope you guys are familiar with this at the end of this course. Cool? Yeah? Okay. So that just sets the initial x position, and we'll also get our density array there. Right. So what we're going to do is, because we want to do everything simultaneously, it's just like cellular automata, we copy our x position and our density into new arrays. Cool? We now, this is just stuff to print out our XYZ files as always. We're now going to loop over each particle. And we're going to define a variable cx to be our current x position. So that is just the x position of whichever car we're looking at. Cool? Yeah? What we're interested in, and notice we take px here. What we're interested in is what's happening to the right of this car, what's happening in front of it. So let's call that position to be our mark. Okay? And our mark is going to be equal to cx plus 1. Unless our mark is equal to L, in which case mark is equal to 0. This is our variable. Cool. If the density of cars at mark is 0, the car can move forward. Okay? And so x at all then plus plus. And let's also change the density while we're here. Okay? The other way to do the density would be to every time step loop over all particles and calculate the density, but we can actually keep track of it dynamically because we have a continuity in the number of cars. We know that if we add a car to mark, so the row at mark increases, then we decreased it at the current position. So we decrease the density where we are and we add it where we're going. Cool. Okay, and again, periodic boundary conditions. If x is greater than or equal to L, it's got to be equal to x. So if we land at x equals L, we wrap that x equals L. And that's it. Cool. It's a very different program. It's the exact same thing.
Probably much simpler, actually.
In some ways. I think it's because the interpretation is so different. It's not an arbitrary rule set. Instead, you can think of these things as cars trying to move forward. And you look if there's something in front of it. If there is, then you can't. Cool. The important thing is it's the exact same thing. And so now, in this case, we have a very direct, easy connection between a particle-based way of thinking about this and a cellular automatic.
I wonder what comes faster.
I don't know. They're both very quick. Okay, so let's run this with a density of 25. So can anyone see an immediate advantage to doing it this way?
I feel like visually it's more intuitive, but
Yeah, what do you mean visually it's more intuitive? Why is it visually more intuitive? You're right. But why?
I guess from an outside perspective, it's a lot easier to look at a dot and be like, that's a car, and then watch
But we were just looking at dots in the middle,
Right.
right? Because what I did before is I output my particle positions, right? And if it was a car, I made the Z position +1. And that way we could color those blue, and these were red.
Yeah.
Okay, and so if you looked at it from the side, they were just blinking all up and down. And we looked at it from the top, we could see motion.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the advantage of this over that?
Well, we can just print the X position, but we throw our car.
Yeah. Okay. Instead of just looking at a cell and it either being 0 or 1, we can actually track a particle moving through the system. Because we aren't just changing a cell between 0 and 1, we're actually advancing. So the X position is actually changing. Okay? Again, that's the subtle difference between the cellular automata.
And we could have extracted that from the other point of view, which is taking a big.
For sure. And so you would have just had to do both programs at once.
Yeah,
Right. So almost, I mean, not quite. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So what does this mean? It now means instead of coloring by Z position, let's color by index. Because if we color by index, then we can actually see the blue. Okay, and so now we got a whole world of fancy car colors.
This looks like a 0.75 density.
Yeah, I know, that's weird. I thought it switched it to 0.25. Did I actually run the code? No. Just there. Yeah, if you ever saw it. All right. Okay. So increase the speed here so that we can track it by eye a little better. There we go. Now we can actually see the particle moving to the front. Cool.
Actually, like a small cell at the very beginning, you can actually see the cars kind of stretch out. So it doesn't look like the cars are moving.
Hi, Austin. You're on fire today, man. Let's increase this to 50. And we'll see what Austin's talking about. So 50 is the highest density, which we know we achieve this nice steady state at maximum velocity. Okay. And so now remember, when we looked at these movies before, it was very hard to discern the particles going forward as opposed to flux moving backwards, right? Okay, but now if you track any one particle, you can see it is indeed moving forward. The blocks are moving backwards because other cars from behind are entering them. Cool. Let's increase it again. You want to see it again? No. It is, right?
That is what I like.
I am pleased. Let's try it at 75. So this is 75.
You didn't.
Now with this, because there's more, you can still watch the cars, you can watch the jams.
Let's decrease the speed. Okay, and again, you'll have to pick out a single car, followed by eye to see it moving to the right. If you just look at the global behavior, it's still going to look like it's moving. It is trippy, eh? Yeah. But here you can totally see the two types of motion. Track an individual car, move to the right. right? But just like a little global behavior, you swear it's moving backwards.
Yeah.
Neat? Oh, yeah.
So this is why when you're driving on the 401, it does feel like you're actually moving back.
Yeah. No, not at all. Cool bomb?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a really cool like way to look at like group velocities and like particle velocities and photons moving through materials and stuff.
Yes, there must be a connection there. Okay. So that's the simple rule of 184. Now, I wanted to move to a particle-based way of looking at it, not only because it's neat to do the different visualizations and see that these are exactly the same thing, but the way you interpret it, you know, your interpretations of a model really affect the way you think about it, what you expect, the way you put in parameters, the way you visualize it, all of this. Okay? Always important to keep that in mind. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. Okay. But one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is to now expand our model, okay? And so Rule 184 is a very simple basis upon which to build traffic simulations. But it's obviously quite limited. So there's been a bunch of extensions, and for the rest of the day, I just want to talk about one. Okay? That one is the Nagel-Schreckenberg model. Okay. And this one has some small extensions, quite a bit more realistic behavior. It actually serves as the basis for some real-world traffic simulators. Okay? And so in this model, what we want to do is assign a velocity to each car. Or I'll put car in quotes. And so you can see now that we're really drifting into a particle-based interpretation. We're talking about velocities we're going to. Okay. We'll define a Vmax. And I think in the original model it was 5, and I think that's what we'll use here. Okay. And let's also define a new variable of interest. The distance from a car to the next one in front of it. And there's a bunch of different variable names for this. Let's just call it dmap, the distance to the car in front. Cool. Okay. Our rules. Number 1, acceleration. If v is less than vmax, v plus plus, or v more. V plus equals 1. Okay? If we are not going at the maximum velocity or speed, we're going to increase the speed of the car. Okay? So there's a counterpoint to this, slowing down. If df is less than d, then v equals df. Why do we need that rule?
So velocity is how the car is going to travel in the time step.
Mhm.
So if the car in front of it is closer than that, then it's going to fly.
That's right. It prevents collisions. Okay? So if you are going the maximum speed of 5, the next car in front of you is 3, okay? Your speed is now 3, so that you end up right behind where that car was. Cool? And so both of these rules can be expressed as VI is the minimum, so the velocity of the ith car is the minimum of VI at t minus 1 plus 1, df of I at t minus 1, or Vmax.
For rule 2, if the car in front of you is not moving, what?
With all, it's all, no. So it's the number of empty spaces between you and the car. Right?
So if the 3 ahead of you, it means there's you, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Yes. Cool. Rule 3. And this is nice. But now we bring back some of all the stochastic stuff we've been talking about all semester in our cellular automata. Okay? Randomization. Okay? So all cars with V greater than or equal to 1, we reduce V by 1 with the probability P. Cool? So we don't do this for cars that are sitting still, because we can't do so. But for all other cars, with a certain probability, we just randomly reduce their velocity by 1. Anybody want to vent and say what this may model to in the real world?
When people just hit their brakes, they're doing 120, like, oh, I'm going 120, I should drop to 100 now.
Exactly.
And then you're just like, okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay. Car. Okay. This turns out to be really important. And the last rule is trivial. Car motion. X of I at t equals x of I at t minus 1 plus vi.
So when I have my monster truck, I just won't stop. You can drive over them. I have big tires. They'll go under my car.
Is that cool with people? Okay, that one is obvious by everything we said. Right? We have a certain velocity. Our time step is 1, so we just advance the car. Cool. Let's see what this looks like.
They fit under my monster truck.
So this is what the code looks like. We can keep a lot of what we've done before, except now we have to calculate this d front variable. Okay. So what we do, or one way to do it, is to say, well, rho at mark equals 0, d front plus plus, and then we just keep increasing mark. And we also always have to be careful for our boundary conditions. Okay. When we exit this loop, it's because we found our next car, which means we have to stop adding to d front. Done. Cool. If d front is less than 1, velocity is 0. We're not going anywhere. Okay. Otherwise, our velocity is 1. And then here, we can set the density equal to 0. The new position is x at I plus vi. This is not the right code, is it? Missing half the code. That's it. This looks more promising. Okay, so d front plus plus, so this is what we just talked about. Okay, if d front is less than b max, then b of I equals d front. Okay, otherwise, let's set our velocity to be the maximum. Okay. However, if my previous velocity plus 1 is less than this velocity, then just set it to the previous velocity plus 1. I'm not at maximum speed, I'm still at something. Cool? So that just does rule 1. Okay? This is my random variable. Okay, and so here I say, okay, I flip a coin. Guess what? You randomly hit your brakes, but if you were stopped, then nothing happened. So, cool. And now here I just do my propagation. So I set rho x at I equal to 0. I advance it by v at I. And notice this even works if v at I is equal to 0. Take care of my boundary conditions, and then just set my density at my new position v1. Cool? So it's a lot like the code we just saw. We just have these extra considerations. V max, d in front, and this orientation. All right, let's see what this looks like. So this is n equals 60 out of 300. What did I call this? Okay, so 60 out of 100 with 300 is not super high density. Okay, and what you start to see is random traffic jams appearing out of nowhere. Okay, because someone just hits a brake, someone was right behind them, so they hit the brakes. The person behind them must have hit the brakes. Okay, just saw one right there. Get these kind of phantom mini jams.
Also, the traffic jams don't have to be stuck together. They can be like dispersed traffic jams.
Yeah. Okay. And if you really want to grind your teeth, you can try and do this at higher densities.
I think this is especially cool because, like in the previous one, once you had like a traffic jam, like it would always stay at constant size once you went over from 0.5. But in this one, traffic jams are not always constant size. Like they'll change and oscillate a bit, and then sometimes they go away and new ones come in. So that's really cool.
Okay, and so here you can kind of see the same traveling waves backwards. If you follow any one card is deep. Okay. Very slowly. And so let's look at what this looks like. We open up a plot. Okay, and now this is what it looks like.
That's
Okay, let's try it. This is at a pretty high density. Let's go back to a density of 60. You can see something. Okay. So what you can see here. Okay, so our cars are in white trying to move forward. Okay, and so these white things going backwards are our traffic jams. Okay, what you can actually see is like here, spontaneous creation of a traffic jam. You would not get this out of Rule 184. It comes out of nothing there. everybody's behaving nicely here, right? Someone hits a brakes. Okay, so this shows the spontaneous formation of traffic. Neat. Okay. What happens if we increase the density? So let's just go up to 100. We get more traffic jams, obviously. And what's actually happening is the speed at which these are propagating backwards. They start going backwards faster and faster. We have higher densities. Cool.
So near traffic jams, new traffic jams are more likely to form because you get a random perturbation of speed and you're closer to slow speed.
Yeah, so that's a good question. I'm sure that's been investigated. It's kind of the correlations. Yeah. I'm sure this data is really rich with it. Cool. Okay. So how about, remember we had these kind of metrics before for the cellular automata model. See what we think they might look like for this one. Remember what they were the velocity or the speed and the flow. What do you think the speed is going to look like? Function of the density.
So at low density, it's going to be just below Vmax.
Pardon me?
At low density, it's going to be just below Vmax.
Yep. One point.
And then it'll be constant. In the steady state. Maybe it'll go down a little bit.
It's pretty constant.
Yeah.
For a while. And then the case of 0. So that is at a relatively low probability of breaking, right? Because your Vmax, your V is just below Vmax. Okay, so most cars find a steady state, they're going at Vmax, but they break every so often, 10% of the time. Cool? What happens if we increase this probability of spontaneous breaking?
We just shift the line backwards now. Like as we increase P, wouldn't that just kind of go from like a longer line to shorter?
So this point's going to move like this.
I would think so.
Yeah. Anything else?
It's also going to move there.
Also going to move down. Okay. So that would be around P equals 0.5. By the time we get to T.9, a very frustrating curve looks something like that. Okay, not quite like this. Okay, it doesn't decay quite that fast, but it decays very, very fast. How about flow? Flow versus road. Flow road. What's flow going to look like?
So 0 is still 0.
Thanks, Austin. Oh, that Austin's point.
Yeah.
It's not the origin anymore. It's Austin.
And 1 is also 0.
Yep. Anyone want that one?
Now, the point of maximum flow.
Well, let's think about what we had last time when we had this constant behavior. And what did we get? Well, we got a flow that increased with rho linear, right? Because this is constant, so you have more cars, more flow, right? So now it goes up like that. Then after that, it's got to go down again, and it does so in a pattern that looks like that. Okay? I don't necessarily have any insight into that particular shape. That is for p equals 0.1. What happens when we go to p equals 0.5?
So imagine the flow still increases
Same thing as
linearly
there,
at the
like
same rate.
like that.
One goes down at what?
So it stays on the same linear line because that comes down, but then you'll start the curve earlier.
Yep, exactly. Very good. And awesome.
I'm trying. Don't worry.
Okay, and then even worse. Point.
So putting it a little flatter. Or maybe
They're really close to being on top of each other. They're probably not right on top of each other. Okay, because these are changing. Okay, so if you increase the density, then this should be slightly less. Okay, so but they're very close to being on top of each other. So probably would look something more like that.
so the maxima and the flux, the same as the maxima and the
I think so, yeah. So this is still going to be your fastest. I think, but actually that's something I have to check, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, whichever one, like where your Vmax is should be where you have the highest floating. Because it's just low.
I think it is possible that it's not exactly. It depends on this shape, right?
Yeah, I think it's because those lines move down. Because those lines move down.
Because they're this shape.
Yeah.
Seems unlikely. Okay. But we had a very gradual decrease after this. And if you're to the right of the point, your velocity is only a little bit smaller, but double the number of cars you have. Okay, then your maximum can be shifted off of this one. Okay. Okay, know what I mean?
Yeah.
But since we're dropping so precipitously, it's not going to be very far.
No, I was saying that because the average speed at the transition point is not the same as at the depth of 0. It goes down slightly because if you increase the number of cars you get, the probability of dropping.
Right.
So that flat region is not actually flat, it's slightly down.
Oh, that I don't know.
Flat, right? Because if you have 10 cars, you have the probability of every now and then getting a random. And that probability goes up.
That's true. That's going to be really small at low densities, that probability, but you're right. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So this is kind of neat because it's based on cellular automatic. We go to a particle-based picture, more to the beginning of the course. And we include randomization, and we learn some very hard realities. Okay. Look at the best density. It's very low. Okay. It doesn't take a lot of people in the world to work all the time before you just get spontaneous or having a chance.
I think this is why they say
Well, that's the next extension of this, is to implement cruise control. So it's STCA with cruise control.
Wouldn't that probability?
I don't know, look it up.
We do that from one of the zero traffic jam.
after a while, just crude.
Yeah.
You went pretty Optimus being slowly.
I just roll in a traffic jam. I just roll at 10. Everyone behind me can roll at 10 as well.
So, question for you guys. I think strictly speaking, we aren't big enough to have class evaluations. But would you guys mind doing them anyway?
You want to just send
Could be useful.
like